All right, welcome everybody. Hello,
Hello.
hello.
Huh?
Here we are, a How to Add 100K webinar. We've got David, Hovan, John. Thank you guys for coming. This is great. Now I got to figure out how to use my Zoom here a little better. Screen I'm sharing. We got Brittany. What's up, Brittany? Celine. All right, layout,
Yeah.
side by side. Here we go. I wish I knew how to use this a little better. Screen I'm sharing. Okay, cool. We're just gonna leave
Side by
that
side.
there. Yeah.
Can you guys see the
Yes, yes.
how to add? Okay.
Yeah, they can see it. There we go.
And then feel free to be in the chat as well
Yep.
with any
Yeah,
questions or
drop
whatever.
drop a drop something in the chat so we can make sure everything's working if you don't mind. Jump in there. I'm gonna type in there. What's up, everyone? All right. I think we've got this is our first time doing all this, so we are pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
And I think we're good. All right. Cool. Well, let's jump in. Let's jump in. All right. So you guys all came here for the good stuff. You guys came here to add 100K to your income over the next 12 months. And we want to deliver on that promise. Whether you're a new agent, whether you're an experienced agent, whether you sell luxury, whether you sell just a lot of high volume, whether maybe you're in Florida, whether you're in Scottsdale here, or just somewhere across the country, and you're like, how do I add 100K? No matter what your market is, you're 100% going to be able to follow this and add these dollars to your bottom line. Okay, so what are you guys going to learn? What are you going to learn? You're going to learn how to earn more money. That's why we're all here, right? How to earn more money. We're going to talk to you about what are some of the things that you can be spending your money on, and maybe some of the things that you shouldn't be spending your money on, right?
Like a Mercedes
Yeah, maybe
as
you're.
soon as you get your check.
That's right.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. We got a plan. We got a financial plan for you. Maybe, and then also what to be spending your time on. Because right now, that's one of the things that you can't get back, right? You've got so much time in the day. And so, how should you be breaking out your schedule? What should you be spending your time on if you want to generate that income? So, this is going to benefit you in a number of different ways. So, what are some of the things you're going to share, Jessica?
Yes. So all of that growth, that those activities, they are not just luck. It's data driven. So I'm going to show you exactly the different metrics that you should be following every single month so that you know exactly where you're at when it comes to your finances, because every successful agent, every successful entrepreneur, they do not avoid their numbers. They lead with confidence so that they can make the best business decisions
Right.
for their agent, whether they're on a team or whether you're a solo agent. These are the metrics that every successful business owner, every single agent should be tracking so that you can improve and grow with those metrics.
Yes. Awesome. Great. All right, guys, you ready to get started? Let's jump in. Maybe a little bit of who we are,
Yes.
right? So why should you even care, right? We do this fancy webinar. It looks all fancy. I hired a graphic designer to post our stuff and design out everything. It looks really nice. But like, why should you trust us, right? So I've been in real estate for 10 years. Prior to that, for 12 years, I was in banking and finance. And so I've got a lot of money conversations under my belt with clients. And so as I applied that to real estate over 10 years ago, I quickly, got into production. I did like 25 deals my first year, 35, 45, and then so on. And after about 5 years, I said, you know what, I'd like to sell the luxury price point. And so we started working on that and we did that. And then more recently, I just love creating an impact in people's lives.
Mm.
And so real estate has had such an impact on my life that I wanted to share that with other people. You know, it's changed our life, whether it was with our daughter and the medical care that we needed to provide for her, or the lifestyle that we wanted to be able to provide for her. Real estate has done that, and we wanted to share. And so, you know, over the last 2, 3 years, we've started building out the team, and that's been a lot of fun. We've seen a lot of impact on people. I've had a number of agents that join us. If they stick with me for a year and they follow our process, you know, they make 125,000, which is, you know what, the proof that pretty much anybody needs. So the stuff that I share is the stuff that's in this webinar. So that's
Mhm.
part of the reason you're here and what you're going to get. And
Mhm.
so that's a little bit about who am I. So who are you, baby?
My start in bookkeeping honestly started with Adam. He was, putting more irons in the fire, sales driven, and his activities, he knew the most benefit, the most revenue generating activities that he could do on a daily basis is focus on his sales. And so I ended up doing a lot of the back end stuff when it came to the finances, running payroll, things like that. And so I really learned firsthand how to grow and scale your business at an accelerated rate is by knowing those financial metrics in your P&L every single month so that you can make the best data driven decisions, because growth isn't just luck, it's measured. And so we learned that firsthand, and you grew at an exponential rate from a 6-figure business to a 7-figure team. And so that was tracked because knowing your numbers matters. So
Right.
that's my story.
Yes, good. Good. And now you started your company,
Yeah.
and just in just a little under a year,
Mhm.
you already grew your business to 6 figures,
Yes.
right? And how
Yeah.
many hours a week do you work?
20, 20,
20 hours a
20,
week. 20
24.
hours a
Yeah.
week with a little guy, right?
With the little toddler.
Yeah, little
Yeah.
guy.
And I replicated a lot of what you do. So a lot of the daily activities that he's going to be teaching you to grow and scale. I mean, it applies to any business, honestly,
Right.
because I used it myself. So I have obviously I have the best sales coach um to help me. And what he's going to share with you is honestly what I do too. So yeah.
Good, good, awesome. Well, you've got okay, so we've got chat disabled. I got a little message from someone, so we're going to see what we can do about that. Um, I may have
Switch.
no, you're fine here.
Okay.
You're fine. So I'm just gonna check one little thing. Chat, show chat,
Hmm.
everyone.
Or like settings.
Okay,
Oh,
here we
there we
go.
go.
All
Everyone.
right.
To
Everyone can
everyone.
chat.
Okay.
Okay. All right. It should be good now. There we are. Thank you, David. David was the one that texted me.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, there's Hawan. Okay. All right, you guys are in. Okay, so as we generate questions and you guys have comments, like please go ahead and post it in the chat. We want this to be interactive. We want this to be beneficial
Yes,
for
please.
everybody. Okay. So thank you. There's John. Thank you, John. All right. Okay, cool. Well, you guys ready for it? Like, should we get going? Should we like actually get into it? Okay, let's get into it. All right. So number one section, how to earn more money. That's why we're here. That's what we want to know. Okay, so what is the number one area that you can make the most money out of in the quickest, easy and effortless way? Well, number one, it's your database, your network. This is the place that's going to generate you the easiest and quickest dollars for your business. Okay. We talk about how your database in our training, your database is your data bank, right? These are the people that know, like, and trust you. You pick them up, you call them on the phone, and they say, hey, what's up, David? What's up, John? Celine, how's it going? These are those people that are in your database that know you, like you, trust you, and will send you referrals. Okay. So we need to be working these people. We need to be making sure that we're connecting with them about what they care about, connecting with them about their lives and what's going on, not just calling them about real estate, but also asking them about how their family's doing. maybe inviting them to something,
Mhm.
maybe connecting with them.
Mhm.
That's something that's very important. That's one of the things that Jessica's even done in her business, where
Yeah.
she's built out her network, got in front of people. She's working on, like we all are working on, becoming a super connector, right?
Yeah.
Somebody that's just adding massive value to every single person that comes into your world. And so this is a space. So how should we be thinking about it? Well, you got to have one-to-one outreach. You need to be picking up the phone. You need to be calling them. And I was talking to one of the folks that had joined our team recently, and they were asking questions like, "Okay, should I direct message them? Yes, you should direct message them.
Yeah.
Should I comment on their posts on social media? Yes, you should comment on their posts. Yes, you should phone call. Yes, you should text them. Yes, you should friend them on Facebook. Yes, 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 yes. If it's a way to reach out to them, you 100% should be doing so." Second thing is your one-to-many outreach. This is very important. This is your ability, because at some point your network's going to continue to grow and you're not going to have the ability to connect one-on-one with them all the time. But you do have the ability through email and through social media to connect with them, where you write one message and it goes out to the entire database. And if you're really good at your subject lines in your email, you're going to get a pretty good open rate, and 30 to 40% of your audience is going to hear your message. And it's
Mhm.
something you just did once. I think my favorite thing here, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more in a second. I might be getting ahead of myself a little bit. Um, Calls, direct messages, text messages, yes, consistency compounds. So let's move here. So there we go. That's I was on this slide. Um, so having these conversations, right? So um, with EXP, the CEO, he made a post recently. His name's Leo, and he's actually from Colombia.
He's
Yeah,
Colombian.
which is where Jessica's from. Um, and he actually said, he's like, I have 7,500 followers on Instagram. And he posted a screenshot of his dashboard, and he had like over 750 views on his social media, 750,000 views on his social media over a 30-day period. 7,500 person audience, 750,000 impressions on his content. That's massive. So social media is a way for you to get that message out there and be communicating with your audience. Email, don't slack on email. Here's a little pro tip. Take your best post from the previous week, the one you got the most engagement on, maybe the most comments, maybe people commented on it afterwards to you. Take that one, turn it into an email,
Mhm.
and send it out. Send it out. Make it easy on yourself, because the people that saw your social media, maybe they didn't see it through email. So that's a good one there. Groups, events, stages, these are all good ways to stay in touch. Why do they work? Of course, it's the immediate face-to-face conversations is going to create that connection, right? It's the fastest opportunity for you to connect with them and get business now from them. It doesn't cost anything, and obviously, it's going to be a way for you to build your skills up in conversating with people, right? They already know, like, and trust you. They're going to be a little bit more forgiving. That's a good opportunity there. Here's how I think about some lead gen spending. We're just going to get a little ahead of it because, like,
Mhm.
we're talking about making money right now. Spend the money on your database and on client events. Number one, that's the first place. If you're thinking about generating leads, this is where I would be spending that money, because it's going to come back to you in a multiplied return.
Mhm.
Community events, whether it's like an open house or a community block party or something like that, that's another opportunity to spend your money on lead gen. And then, and only then, would I consider spending money on Facebook leads and maybe Google pay-per-click, things like that. Let's talk about the client events a little bit. I'd at least have something quarterly. With our team, we have something quarterly. We just had our basically a holiday portraits. It's like a holiday social where we were invited all of our clients, all of our leads that were pretty hot in the pipeline. We had an opportunity to invite them, and they got some pictures, some family photos, and it was a blast. It was a blast.
It was
It
so
was,
good. It
yeah,
was a lot of
and
fun.
everybody got a chance to connect with their agents. Everybody got a chance to just catch up. And I think we had a number of referrals that came out of that. I think within a couple hours, one of the agents on our team, he actually messaged our group chat and he said, I set a listing appointment from somebody who referred me someone at my client event. And guess what? We had zero conversation about real estate
Mhm.
leading up to them coming to that event. It was just, hey, come to our event and check this out.
Mhm.
It was RSVP based, so we got a chance to know who was coming. We could control the event a little better. We had their information, and on that RSVP, we actually asked for if they had anybody that they were considering sending us as a referral. So it was great. So anyway, this was a great opportunity. Ball games, inviting people out to a restaurant, a happy hour cocktail type event. There's a lot of different things that you could do here. The point is just make it non-real estate related so you have a chance to connect with your people.
Mhm.
Um, we talked a little bit about like a park meetup, maybe smaller holidays like in your neighborhood for Memorial Day, like a barbecue, things like that are helpful. Just creating an event. If you got a lot of kids in the neighborhood and see a lot of kids, put something on for the kids, maybe a bounce house, maybe an ice cream social. Those are all things that could get people out of their houses and be able to connect with you. Those are amazing, amazing things to spend your money on. They will generate you the most referrals and the most opportunity right now. As a matter of fact, I had someone who was, they were kind of as a lead and they hadn't really decided to hire me. And I invited them to this event and their language changed right on the other side of it. It was like, they were like, okay, well, when we sell, what do you think, Adam? And they
Mhm.
started talking more in the framework, like I was already their agent. And they hadn't officially made that decision, but obviously at the event they did. So that's a great opportunity there. Let's see. Um, let's talk about daily money making activities.
Mhm.
This is, um, if you're going to be making money now, you need to be executing on one-to-one conversations. You need to execute on your one-to-many conversations. It's your reaching out. That's the most important thing. And then the other thing that you have control over, if you don't obviously you have control over the number of people that you're communicating with, and then you can expand that reach even further on social media. So you're reaching out, you're having these conversations with people. The other thing that you control is the quality of those conversations. So the other thing to be spending your time on is your skill development. And that includes emotional mastery, includes the types of languages, the scripts, the dialogues that you need to be practicing, and then obviously resolving those inner resistance that you have. If you're talking to someone and they say, "Hey, you need to take care of like this is how you say this," or "This is what's successful," because remember, success leaves clues,
Mhm.
and then you say what they say and you do what they do. But as you start taking those steps, you notice that you have inner resistance. And what is that? That is your inside, your emotions, your subconscious is volunteering some information for you to be able to work through and resolve. There's some kind of belief, there's something going on inside that's holding you back. And so taking that as a flag that's pointing to some information that you need to work through, and maybe that's belief about money. Maybe that's belief about deserving. We work through that a lot with people on our team. Like, do I deserve to be here? Do I
Mhm.
deserve the checks that I'm
Mhm.
creating? And absolutely 100% you do.
Mhm.
But these things can draw attention to those issues that we have internally. So those are going to be some of the most important things. And then I would say the last thing that's going to be really critical on like how can I make money now is just taking 1,000% responsibility for everything in your world. If you're approaching your day and you're like, well, the leads suck. Well, the traffic was bad. Well, the weather was this. Well, I didn't get enough sleep. Right now, you're playing the victim. I'm just going to be straight with you, right? And you're telling yourself a story that's disempowering you.
Mhm.
You can't act off of that.
Mhm.
But if you tell yourself a story that is, hey, I have control, I can change my environment, I can change my outcomes, and you take all of that into yourself and say, hey, I'm going to take 1,000% responsibility. When did I cause this? How did I cause this? How can I control this? It's going to change the game for you because now you're the actor, you're the one that's empowered, that's taking steps forward to create your future. So that's going to be a tremendous impact on any one-to-one conversations, any kind of practice, skill work, connection with other people. It's just going to be vital.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
all right, that's some keys there. All right, Jessica, let's, oh, sorry, I jumped on your lap. Push the wrong button.
No, it's fine. Yeah,
All right.
mindset is everything, and we're going to talk about money mindset as well. Because when you have it exactly what Adam was saying, when you have a shitty mindset, you're going to get shitty results. And
Mm,
it's the same with numbers as well. And so, um, my agenda is going to be what you should be tracking and why it matters as an agent, the four numbers every agent should be knowing, and then just simple finance things that you can implement right away, simple financial strategies that you can implement right away for your business. Okay, if you guys can put in the chat just what avoidance traps keeps you from achieving financial confidence. So what's something that you're like a mindset thing or just thoughts that keeps you from gaining that financial confidence. So if you can comment, these are the ones that I am the most familiar with when it comes to my appointments and calls that I have with business owners. Um, One would be I am not a numbers person. That is a common one. But you are the CEO of your business, so you have to be a numbers person in order to lead with confidence. As the owner of your business, whether you're on a team, it's too overwhelming. That's a really common one, Emily. Um, as the CEO of your own personal business, as a real estate agent, that title comes with financial responsibility. You're in the driver's seat when it comes to the financial impact of your business. The ideas that Adam shared are amazing ones. They're fantastic. But if you're not tracking your numbers and you're not tracking the spend of those, you could be spending on marketing, you can be spending on events, you can be spending on all types of all types of shit that may or may not be achieving the ROI that you guys are wanting. And so you want to be tracking. I'll look at it later. It's too overwhelming, which is what Emily was sharing. Um, the avoidance leaves you at risk, honestly, for tax penalties, and then typically the IRS kind of forces your hand. And
mm.
so it's a costly trap. A lot of the times, and it's very common. So if you're in that seat, you're not alone. That's literally every single call and every appointment that I have. The business owner is like, ah, and then I'm like, it's fine. Everything is figure outable. We will help.
Yes.
But avoidance typically adds to the stress and the confusion, and then you miss opportunities. Should you be filing as an S corp? Are there tax strategies when it comes to putting assets on your balance sheet, like your car? Different things like that. There's different tips and tricks that when you have a clean book, when you have clean books, you are then now able to show your P&L and your balance sheet to your CPA or your tax strategist, and it's a 20-minute conversation versus hours and hours, which just ends up being more costly.
Yeah. And Ethan
Good.
said, I'm scared of failure. And
Oh,
and you
yeah.
know, that's a big one too. Like a lot of
Yeah.
us will avoid looking at the numbers because we're like, oh, I don't want to see what my bank account looks like. But the reality is when we face it, right?
Yes.
When you face it, you're in reality and then you can be making the decisions that you need to be making to get where you need to go. So if you look at your account and you're like, hey, it's not quite as high as I need it to be, then you can go back and now you can double down on the motivation to like get into production, add in those activities that are going to make a difference. And
Right.
then once you start seeing that money coming in, if you've already been tracking it, now you have the ability to say, okay, wow, like I only spent this much money this month, and I've got some extra, it's built up, I built out a savings account. Now where can I start to spend? And then you can start taking it to the next level. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So true. So true. It honestly, Ethan is also another typical response where it's like, I just don't, I'm scared of failure. Exactly what Adam was saying is true. And it honestly, what I share with our clients or potential clients, it just starts with one step. It just starts with getting a QuickBooks Online, which don't do that unless you talk to me because we have a pro advisor and I can get you a discount. But it just starts with tracking one number, getting accounting software. Just one step in the right direction will gain momentum and then will gain more will gain more clarity as you say as you step into that growth of like, okay, all right, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was. Okay, let's take more steps in the right direction. And so it honestly just starts with that one step, and then you gain momentum after that, typically is what I've seen. Um, why knowing your numbers matter. It very similar to what we were just talking about. The most successful, the most empowered entrepreneurs, real estate agents are tracking their numbers. They're making their decisions with confidence because they are knowing when to spend, they are knowing when to hire, when to invest, because your numbers are the truth that guide you. You can't grow what you don't measure. That's what I was sharing before. When it comes to growth, it's not just luck, it's data driven. Your metrics tell you what's working and what's not working and where to focus. And so, one of the things, just in real time, what Adam was sharing about networking, I was tracking my numbers when it came to just different networks that I was a part of. I was tracking my lead generation when it came to those networks. And what I saw was 40% of our clients came from my center of it, my COI, from those around me that I was building relationships with because of the industry that I'm in. There's a lot of trust involved. So I need to be more relationship focused rather than spending a shit ton of money on Facebook ads. And so because we were tracking our metrics, what we measured, we then improved. And so then we got into more networks. We started pouring more money into those networking opportunities, and we will do so in this next year as well, because I mean, 40% is a great margin when it comes to gaining those clients.
Mm-hmm.
And so business decisions need.
Let me add
one
thing there. So like the other thing too is, so because she's within her, like just have at her year mark with her business, it's about like, what's the money, the best return I can get right now. So in the future, is she saying, hey, I'm never going to spend any money on Facebook ads, I'm never going to spend any money on Google ads? No, she's not saying that. She's saying right now, because she's tracking her numbers, she saw that there was a ton of investment. So it's like, hey, here's this networking group. When I put money in and I spend time and I pay for lunches and do events, I get these kinds of business out of it. Oh my gosh, look, there's 3 or 4 other networking events that I could also be a part of. So instead of spending money on ads, I'm going to go ahead and redirect that. And then at some point, she's going to maximize out that network and maybe even create her own network. And then once she hits that and she's lucratively drawing referrals and income from each of those networking groups, then she can start thinking about, what's that next tier that I could do? Is it Facebook? Is it pay-per-click? What is it? And then at that point, also start judging your numbers, right?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. It comes with that financial context so that you can make the best decision possible for your business. And so which is why we're talking about that next, whether it comes with hiring, marketing, or scaling, it all needs financial insight. And so, for example, hopefully I can share this. When it comes to
depends.
Yeah. When it came to coaching, Adam has spent about $40,000 to $50,000 when it comes to coaching, when it came to recruiting and marketing. And that was a big investment on his part to do that within this year. But he's already recruited, now you're at what, 12 agents. And so the ROI on that investment, if he's measuring correctly, he's going to be returning because of the agents that he's bringing on that match his core values, that match exactly what he's wanting when it comes to his team. And so, yes, you might think, oh my gosh, like $40,000 to $50,000 on coaching. That's like a lot. Well, when it came to the ROI, it's, I mean, it's actually beneficial to his business because he's going to get that in tenfold.
Right. So, and I'm assuming it's okay that we talk about money and we talk about specifics, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
why you guys are here.
Right.
So, like, this is not an ego play, but I mean, I've actually spent about $40,000 just in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've spent upwards like
Hundreds
hundred
of thousands
plus
over
thousand,
the
yeah,
years.
probably
Yes, that's
closer to
true.
$200,000 on coaching and early on, and because it had such an impact on my business. And
Hmm.
this year I decided to spend more, and it's
Hmm.
already had that impact. And so again, just comes down to that ROI. The coaching, the team that you're a part of, like, are you getting your money's worth? Like, are you getting the impact? Or is it just like a little set of data that you're getting? Or is it an expanding set of data? So
Right.
anyway, go
You
ahead.
don't want to be making big business decisions or financial decisions when it comes to hiring, marketing based on vibes or based on gut or emotion.
Hmm.
You want to make sure that they're data driven. Am I going to get that return on investment? How fast am I going to get that return on investment? Those are what our clients are asking all the time. They are looking to us when it comes to their operations costs. If you're growing your operations expenses, you want to be growing your revenue at the same time. If you're increasing your hires, you want to be increasing your revenue, or what's the point?
Hmm.
Then it's not helping your business, it's hurting it, but you're not going to know unless you're tracking that.
Right. Right. Go ahead.
Oh, yep. Okay, simple financial tips. These are things that we've seen our seven-figure clients do. They have CEO hours. They lead from clarity, not chaos. So they're looking at their P&L every single week. They are reviewing it with their executive team, or they're reviewing, even if you're a solopreneur, they're reviewing it every week, even just by yourself. And kind of like what Adam was saying when it came to mindset, shitty mindset equals shitty results. So within that hour, when you're reviewing your numbers, any admin work that you're needing to do, what I do is it's called priming. And so every time I'm looking at our accounts receivable and I'm meeting with my assistant to see where we're at when it comes to my numbers. And I do that every single Monday at 9:30 a.m. With her. I want to be in a great headspace. And so I listen to Nicki Minaj because that gets me going in boss bitch mentality. And I also practice my gratitudes every single morning as well. Because if we're not leading from gratitude, then the our life can then come at us rather than from us. And so that's something that I've learned over this past year to make those times really empowering and me lead my team with confidence, with clarity, with um, energy. And so that's something that I do. The top four numbers for agents.
So
We will
so
review. Oh,
so
okay.
you think all this stuff applies to real estate agents?
Absolutely. I think so.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes. You should be reviewing every single week where your numbers are at, or at the very least every single month. But having that hour leading from clarity rather than confusion is going to help you grow and scale. And so that's what we're seeing even with our clients. That's what they're doing.
Good.
And then I'm going to share the top four numbers that you should be tracking as a real estate agent. And then another financial tip is you want to be, I mean, especially if you're starting out, it's very common to commingle. That's what it's called, mixing your business and personal accounts. But starting today, if you haven't, get a business account. That's going to keep it clean. It's going to, and use your business account for any business expenses. That's going to be able to, so that you can know in real time what are your business expenses and income versus anything else. And so you want to separate those out. CPAs and tax strategists, they will love you. And then now you're not spending hours and hours and hours
Yes.
trying to figure that out.
Let me add into that. So,
Yes.
so whether or not you've got a fancy LLC, and we might talk about that a little bit later, and you're doing other things, you want to set it up correctly from the beginning. Even if
Mhm.
you're just filing as a sole proprietor, which is what you would if you don't have an LLC or anything else, open up a business account where you can have a sole proprietorship.
Mhm.
And even if it's just your name, right?
Mhm.
Because and then you start operating the cash flows into that account. Any business expenses you have come out of that account. If you don't have, like, if you're really, really, really brand new, you could even just go online and duplicate and have a second checking account where you could put the money in and then treat it like it's its business account. And so that's super helpful. And then one other thing I was going to add into what you had said earlier
Mhm.
was, you might be on a team, right? You might say, hey, I don't have a lot of additional expenses. The team actually writes that check for me every single month. Should I still be doing this? Absolutely, you should be doing this,
Mhm.
because once you get your income flowing and everything going, then you're going to still have the opportunity to invest in yourself. Like I tell the agents on my team, like,
Mhm.
I've got more than one coach, right? So as a team leader, I'm one of their coaches. But should they also consider hiring another coach? Absolutely, you should. And you're not going to know whether you should do that if you're not tracking your numbers,
Mhm.
because you need to have your living expenses. You're gonna have
Mhm.
to have things broken out. You have your business expenses, but these are some of the numbers. So don't tune out if you're a part of a team on this next section.
Absolutely. Don't do it. Pay attention. No, I'm sorry. Celebrate your wins. That's something that we are really, really big on. Is
Lords.
celebrating your wins, or it's all just work. And so you want to have those wins, whether they're small. Oh my gosh, I just got my first listing. Like, amazing. Go celebrate with yourself and have a happy hour with friends, or go get a drink, or have a dinner. Something that we have implemented in our business is quarterly wins and year end wins that are, bigger. And so we celebrated our win of this year with Sedona. We were able to take both of our families as a business. We were able to pay for that. And so that was like really, really amazing to celebrate this year and how far we've come. But they should be equal. Your wins should be equal to what the win is. And so
Yeah, the appropriate.
it needs to be
The
appropriate
celebration needs to be appropriate.
for the gain, for the win. And so one of the funny stories that I like to share is Adam had I mean, just to give you context, we were poor. Like, we were really, I was a social worker, he was a pastor, so not like a lot of money doing those jobs. And so he hit like six figures within his first year, and we were like, oh my gosh, we're rich. Like, this is amazing. And then cash purchased Mercedes, a Mercedes car. And so that was not a good idea because it made us cash poor, and we could have saved and invested in our savings account, so that, because surprise, surprise, you have income cycles, and we're going to talk about that as well when it comes to when real estate agents earn the most and then when they earn the least. Every industry has their trends. You should be tracking yours. But yeah, so savings was not something that we did at first. We do now. We do now. And so, yes, celebrate your wins, but they should be equal to what your win is.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I had a conversation with someone who they'd taken their first listing on our team, and she was super excited, and it was a huge celebration. And I was like, what are you going to do? And she's like, well, I just don't have a lot of money. And I said, well, what's something that you could do to reward yourself? And she's like, well, I'm going to go hike. I'm going to go
see?
I'm going to go take a
Perfect.
hike, or, maybe I'll take I'll go to a nice restaurant that's not too expensive with my family.
Yes.
So there's ideas out there,
Yes.
and you can do that.
Yes, absolutely. Just maybe not buy a car. Yeah. So 4 metrics. Okay, so this is something that every agent should be tracking, whether you're on a team or a team lead, is your operations cost. So something that we do for even our other clients that are agents, we do a cost analysis on their operations. And so, like I said, if you're hiring a VA, if you're hiring an admin, if you're increasing your marketing spend with Facebook ads or Instagram ads, if you're adding in a coach, like what Adam said, um, anything like that, as you increase your operations costs, your revenue should also be increasing. Because your operations should be helping you generate more income, not hurting it. And so those are things that you should be tracking. Profit margin. If you're at a 50% profit margin, that's like amazing. So when there's, team splits and stuff, 50%, that makes sense because as the team lead, they're taking over all the operations costs when it comes to transactions, when it comes to any admin work, marketing the property, all that stuff. Events, all of that stuff. There's a reason why it's a 50% split. And so 50% profit margin is like really awesome when it comes to that. Your customer acquisition costs. So similar to what Adam was saying, where are those clients coming from when it comes to your sales? Are they coming from networks? Are they coming from Facebook ads? Are they coming from Instagram? Whatever you want to be tracking your customer acquisition costs. How much is it costing me per client, per sale? How much is it costing me? And be looking at that cash flow trends and reserves. And so what a typical rule of thumb when it comes to commission-based industries is having 3 months of expenses saved up. And so you want to be having that in reserves and then tracking your cash flow. And so when you're an agent, fall and spring, typically, unless it's 2020, and then it's like summer and
Yeah, there's always exceptions.
That was a weird year. But there's always exceptions. But typically fall and spring are when when you guys earn the most. There was a joke that Adam would share is like, we're not going anywhere in March, because that's when the activity was the most high, was in the spring. And so we just like, all right, we like kind of worked around it. And so you want to be tracking those cash flow trends so that when summers or winters are lower, you're not caught off guard. And so you want to be tracking those income cycles. Okay, this is when I make the most. This is when I make the least. This is when I need to be reserving. I need to be a little bit tighter on my budget is over the summer. There is an agent that Adam, a colleague of his, Darren, that he purposefully goes to Newport Beach every July because he knows his income cycles and he knows that Julys are usually a slower month. And so he has built that into his life and into his business where he goes off and goes on vacation with his family. But that's because he's tracking his trends, and
Yes.
knows exactly when to be taking vacations, which is in July.
Yeah.
So,
and I'll add in on that.
Yeah.
So because it can change every single year. And one of the benefits of being a part of the Phoenix market is like our winter season is actually, it kind of it activates our vacation market, our golf market, our winter visitor market. So the nice thing about in Arizona is like you literally could push in and do a lot almost year round. Save maybe July and August. That's probably like where it's just a little bit slower. And so, yes, definitely line up your vacations with that. And it's also going to be a little bit dependent on what you're going after, right? So if you're going after like ultra luxury, then the climate is going to have a really, really big impact on people being in town to purchase a really luxury property.
Mhm.
And so you definitely need to be thinking about being around fish when the fish are running And you need to see what your target market is and know those numbers. So that's very, very smart.
Right. Here's an action plan that you guys could be doing, and questions that you should be asking yourself. I can also email this as well, so, or take a screenshot, whatever you need to do. But where do you want to be financially is a big one. What's your big audacious goal? Where do you want to be at? And break that down per quarter, per month, daily activities to reach that big audacious goal. That's something that Adam has implemented from the beginning that I then replicated in my business as well. Is where do I want to be? And then breaking that down to my daily activities. So I'm focused on exactly what I want to be focused on. Like I said, I can email this. And so these are just tips on the next step that you should be tracking for that financial clarity that you're wanting. And then a big one, kind of similar to what I shared with a big audacious goal, is you want, like, why? Like, why are you working so hard? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you listening to this guy? You have every business owner needs their North Star. They need a vision. Goals follow vision, not the opposite around, not the opposite.
Yes, that's very
And
important.
so something that I will share is like I said, Adam's big audacious goal when he first started, because of our daughter, who's fine now. She's doing awesome. But 10 years ago, she had massive seizures, grand mal seizures, where we would be calling 911 all the time, and the ambulance all the time. And so ambulance rides, just so you know, are like $1,000 a pop.
Right.
And we're calling it once a week.
Yeah.
And so he was laser focused on his big audacious goal, which was, I need to earn as much money as I possibly can,
Right.
and get to six figures in a year.
Right. And we're all safe and healthy.
We're all
We're all safe and healthy. And this is where, like, the time and the schedule and being focused and knowing your numbers, this is where it serves you, because we could have some random things that popped up where, I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning because something's going on, and I got a listing appointment the next day, and how do I be prepared, and where do I go, and how do I, like, what am I working? When can I sleep a little extra? And it was just like we had to be so tight with our data and with our numbers. And the only reason we were able to do that is because we had such a big mission, which was this health and safety of our family at the time. And that's it. And if you're on our team, we talk about this a lot. A man or a woman on a mission is unstoppable.
Right.
You have to have something. Why are you doing this? You're not showing up to prove something to me. You're not showing up to prove something to her. You're not showing up to prove anything to anyone. But what you are doing is you're showing up to have an impact on the thing that's the most important to you. And for us, a lot of it is like we want to impact people. We love to see people's lives changed, particularly through the real estate industry. Her with financial clarity within her business, she loves seeing that light go off, and she gets great relationships around that. And so both of us we're chasing that impact on people. And that's what gets me up at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's what gets her up at 4:15 in the morning. I still try to I've always got to try to, like, one up. She started getting up at 5. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to get up. But no, just joking. But anyway, but having that North Star, having that mission is so important. Like, what is driving you?
And reminding yourself every day. So something that Adam did, I wasn't finished with my story. Something that Adam did early on was he had a picture that Audrey drew. And this is with only Mike Ferry scripts. He had nothing, right? He didn't have the wealth of knowledge that he has now. But he had a mission, and he was on the mission to achieve that vision. And so he had just a picture that my daughter drew on the wall in front of him every day when he was prospecting, so that he remained with that vision in sight. And so everyone here has a reason why they're doing what they're doing. Just like he does, and just like I do. The reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is to build a legacy, but also leave a legacy for my family and to do something that my family is proud of. Because that's what I want to do. But then I also know the business owners that we're servicing, they also have their own whys. They also have their own visions that they're trying to achieve. And so we want to help them build their legacies as well. I always cry at this part, but it's okay. It is what it is. I'm used to it now. So you want to get it out of your head. You want to make it real. Share it. Share it with your team. I mean, there's a lot of team members here. Share it. What is it? What's your big audacious goal? What's your vision? What are you doing it for? Because it will inform your daily activities if you keep it in front of you every single day.
Absolutely. All right. You want one more?
Oh, I don't know. I feel like that's yeah. Oh, yeah. Just different questions. But yeah, I mean that's it for
Right.
me. And then the metrics, I will be emailing the formulas to be tracking that yourself.
Yes. All right. Great. All right. So for the few minutes that we have left, I'm going to get like real tactical with all of you. Okay. So I hope that's okay. We're just going to get right down to it. We're going to talk about what to spend your money on. Okay. So now that you guys have a framework with your finances and how you're thinking about it, we can give you the goods, right? We can give you the things you can responsibly go spend some money on. Okay. So the number one thing is you need a CRM. You've got to have something where you can track those one-to-one and one-to-many conversations. It's also where you can track your email. So we love Follow Up Boss. Oh my gosh, I love Follow Up Boss. I love Follow Up Boss, even though it's owned by Zillow, but they still are the best CRM out there, in my opinion. Another one that we had, yeah, that's right. We see some favorites in here as well. Another one is Lofty. Lofty, we use that one for a long time. If you're like kind of a solo person and you want an all-in-one CRM, that's a good one. We did start to have issues at scale on that one. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to message me. But I do like systems that are constantly developed and integrate well with other services. That's the most important thing when it comes to your system. We invested a ton of money and a ton of time into a system that was not getting updated anymore. And anytime the ancillary services updated, it broke the link. And so lead flow was blocked, emails got messed up. So the most important thing is this a company that's constantly developing out their software and the services that are being a part of it? So one other thing right now that's happening is like AI integration. And so, we think, I mean, I think a lot of it's oversold, but obviously AI is powerful. It's like the invention of electricity. And light bulbs in houses. It's going to have a massive impact on our world. But then how are the systems that you're using utilizing it? Is it smart? Does it make sense? And is it working? So that's one thing. Okay, guys, we got to talk. We got to talk about appearances. Okay. We are in the people and image business. Okay. We're in the people and image business. So if you're showing up and they're expecting you to be somebody who regularly cashes large checks, do you dress like someone who regularly cashes large checks? Does it mean you need to have 10 suits and 50 shirts and 10 pairs of shoes? No, it doesn't. It does not mean that. But you have so much that's in your control. Okay. So, number one thing, updated headshot. Get this updated. Make sure it's sharp. Make sure your energy is coming through the way that you want. Yes, you need to be approachable and kind, but at the same time, you need to be a powerhouse. If these people are going to hire you to sell their 6, 7 figure houses and they're hiring you to protect their equity and make sure that they're getting every single penny possible out of the property, are you showing up like someone who regularly does that? Do you handle yourself in a way that regularly does it? Does your headshot convey that when you're looking through?
We have resources, we have photographers and stylists that you can use.
Yeah, exactly. And so, making sure like you've got 3 different suits, have some belts and pants that match, like talk to a stylist, even if you go online, just make sure that you're aware of how your image is coming across. So I think this is where some of the most valuable money can be spent because it affects everything and it touches it creates the context around you and what your clients perceive in terms of value with the service and the professionalism that you're offering. So get that headshot updated, make sure you've got a photographer that's able to give you input about it, not just somebody who does, high school graduation photos. I've been to a number of those events where they're like, hey, free headshots, and you show up and they're like making you look all like cool. And it's like, that's not what you want.
Yeah.
You need to make sure that you got a professional image that's coming through and it's powerful, it's strong, and it represents who you are and the character that you have.
Yes.
Make sure you got suits, ladies, nice blouses. Just you need to be dressed up. I had somebody where I went on a $400,000 listing appointment. I opened up the door, they let me in, and she probably had about $600,000 or $700,000 worth of art in collectibles inside the house.
Oh, wow.
Do you think she presented herself very affluent and had a lot of money? Yes. Yes, she did. And I was dressed up in a suit. So guess what? I immediately felt well dressed for the meeting, right? I could have said, hey, this is a $400,000 listing appointment. I'm just going to go in a polo and jeans. And some people do that and they get away with it, but I think it's too much. I think the risk is too much. When you're generating upwards to $12, $13, $14,000 in commission, then how seriously are you taking it? And then I would say, look, if you're saying it's not me, I'm not a powerhouse, I'm not this, I'm not that, maybe call me privately, we'll have a conversation. But you need to be able to convey and make sure that you are in alignment with what your clients want. So even if it's about serving your clients and where might you be willing to grow and stretch yourself in order to serve them, then let's have a conversation. But make sure that you're challenging yourself on that stuff. Let's see what else we got. Your presence, yes. This is just a little detailed here. Okay, a real transaction coordinator. Now, if you're on a team or you're on our team, you know that our transaction coordinator or transaction manager is such a valuable tool because it keeps you in your money-making activities. Okay. And I'll give you a little, this is in contrast, and maybe we'll skip the slide a little bit later, but those broker supplied ones, they just are not co-creating an experience with you. They're not maybe able to answer a phone call. They don't understand how you're doing business. Because as real estate agents, we're very proud. We're artists, right? We're artists. We're creating a beautiful experience that leads to a very predictable outcome. And so if we don't have a assistant or a transaction coordinator that belongs to our business and can co-create that experience with you, then you're going to create a lot of friction with your clients or not get the service or maybe get your money's worth for all the things that you're spending. So I'll just leave it at that. Project management. Oh my gosh, project management software. Yes. We are all project managers, right? Your CRM is going to be able to help you organize your database and your communication. But then once you start spending extra money, you're going to need to be able to track all those tasks. You're going to need to be able to track your transactions, the experience you want to create. Because you get some transaction checklists off of online, and they might say, hey, here's 10 steps to close a transaction. But you know what? You look at ours, man, we've got probably like 30 steps per each segment because we don't want to make sure anything is missed. Okay. And so project management software to help you run your transactions, we use ClickUp. I love it. We used Asana early on. ClickUp is just one of those companies that's constantly developing out their software, which is why I love it so much. And you can get it as a free option if it's just you, and you can give your assistant the same login and you guys can work it together. But once you grow beyond that, then you're going to need to go to an enterprise, and it'll serve you a lot. So media partner, this is so important. You need to have somebody that understands your vision, what you're trying after. They understand your brand. They understand what you're trying to convey so that they can edit and create those videos for you that's going to allow you to push your image out through the rest of the internet. I think this is really important. Jessica just re-updated her brand, and I was like sharing it with everybody I know because she looked so nice in the photos. And so what I would say is this is a very, very key component, because if you're going to be on social media, having somebody, a lot of times, maybe you hire them for a listing video, right? Maybe you just hire them for a brand shoot, but you learn a lot when you go on these shoots. They say, do this on camera, don't do this on camera. You ask questions, you get good feedback, and you can take all of that and you can apply it to your own individual social media, where you're holding your phone and you're doing your stuff real, raw, relevant. That sells on social right now. But if all the tips that I learned from all of the videographers and video editors that I've worked with, I'm applying so many different things. I probably forgot all the things that I'm applying. It's just secondhand now. But you want to make sure you have somebody like that. And if you're on a team, I'm sure the team probably has somebody like that. This is something to spend some of your money on. Okay, this is something that will take you a little further faster because you are investing with it. And then just make sure that it complements the brand of your team, right? So if you're Luxury Scottsdale like we are, then make sure that your brand is lined up with that and your editor knows about that. Okay, so this is really important. Virtual executive assistant. This is such an important thing if you're looking like, I just got some money, what can I spend it on that's going to make a huge impact? Outside of a transaction coordinator, which this person might double as your executive assistant as well in the beginning. And I talk to a lot of people on our team where they'll get up to a certain number of transactions. We're providing that transaction support and co-creating that experience with them. But then there comes a time where they need some executive assistant help that's just for them. They want somebody that picks up the phone for them. They want somebody that's, making calls for them, organizing, creating different things. So if you're on a team, this is something that you should talk to your team leader about. If you're ready to spend some money, if you're by yourself, you should 100% get somebody like this. You should learn how to be the leader that you need to be able to be effective with this. Open house signs, get a bunch of open house signs, guys. Like we're going to talk about this a little bit later about what you spend your time on. This is one of the things you should be 100% doing, especially with the NAR settlement from last summer to a year and a half ago now. You need to make sure that you are in front of people face to face. And the easiest way to do that for people that are real ready now to buy or sell are through open houses. We talked about quarterly events, and we also talked about coaching. These are things that are super valuable. I'm going to run through these ones real quick, just for expectation of time. If you guys got to drop off, that's totally fine. We're going to record this and post it. So this will be available. So if you were planning on running, you can. But we'll run through the rest of this real fast. What not to spend your money on. Okay, broker supplied transaction coordinator. I kind of touched on this. You guys get it. It's just the money you spend. If you did like 2 deals, you got almost a 20 to 25 hour payroll right there that you could hire somebody that belongs to you and your business and answers the phone. I mean, that was the biggest thing for me. It's like, hey, this person, not only they can do all the extra stuff when I'm a little slower. And so this is just, you can't do it because they won't help you with that stuff. Print media, spend your money on the other stuff first. New lead sources, you got to track your ROI, but this says, make sure if you're not spending money on your client events and things like that, I would do that first. That's so immediate, and on the things that are going to help you do open houses and your image. Software hopping, yeah, just don't do this. Make sure that you got maybe like one time a year where, dig in, invest. If you're constantly researching, I need a better CRM, you're not going to find it. Just not, right? So it's never going to be perfect. So make sure you're just reviewing that stuff maybe like once a year in many cases. Enhancement softwares, stay away from these right now if you're really trying to move the needle, unless you've got massive amounts of leads in your database that you know you're missing out on and you're a solo agent. Then these enhancements are just not going to help you, because you're going to be able to keep your arm around your business and your pipeline and your leads using the CRM tools. So I just wouldn't spend money here. And paying vendors. This is always funny. People, they think they need to network. Well, don't network with the people that are down the food chain from you, right? Title companies, lenders, interior designers. These are all people that should be taking you to lunch. Okay. These aren't people that you should be taking out to lunch, because they get business from you. And so you want to set that precedent. So if they want to meet with you, cool, come and join. If you want to meet them, call them on the phone. Just have a conversation with them. Meet them at an event. Pick their brain. But you definitely don't be spending money on these people. They should be spending money on you.
Mhm.
Okay, where do you spend your time? This is we got just a few slides left, guys. And I think I thought real hard about these ones because it's like we're talking about where you spend your money, what not to spend your money on, what are some of the crucial things that are going to get you into success.
Mhm.
And time is almost like another money, right? It's like
Mhm.
it's your very limited resource. Everybody only gets 24 hours in the day. So what right now can you be doing to spend that time wisely? Get the most ROI on this because it's even more important than the money in your bank account.
Mhm.
Let me say that again. Your time and how you spend it is way more important than how you spend your money right now.
Mhm.
Okay? All right. Allocation, priority order. Prospecting, you need to be talking to people. You will never get away from this. As soon as you get away from this, your business, your network will start to circle the drain. 100%. Even people, if you've ever watched online like somebody who's had a relatively high degree of success and they're like, "Hey, we want to help everybody." And maybe they've got a lot of money and they don't need to be doing that, but they still do it. Why do you think they're doing it?
Mhm.
Why do you think they're doing it? They're doing it because they want to create connections and create further impact. They're on that mission. And you know what these people don't stop doing? They don't stop reaching out to other people. They don't stop that prospecting. So even if it's not a cold prospect, it might become a warm prospect because that's the holy grail in real estate, right? But you need to be talking to people, okay? Talking to people, lead follow up, most important time. Make sure you defend it, you block it. I just had a conversation with my coach this morning, and that was the first thing on my notebook. And I knew he was going to ask me about it. He said, "How well have you been defending your prospecting time?" And this last week, honestly, getting ready for this webinar, probably let it slide a little bit, but it's still on my radar.
Mhm.
I can pick up the phone and talk to people and set appointments pretty quickly, but I have to keep doing
Mhm.
it. Whether it ends up being agents, it ends up being clients, it ends up being other people that I'm trying to network with. Okay. Listing presentations, being in front of people. The two things that we track on our team every single week is how many people did you talk to and how many people did you meet, right? Because the meet number is your leading indicator on how well your business is going. If you're not meeting with anybody, you should have a little bit of an oh shit moment. I'm going to be real. If you're not meeting with someone, you need to ramp that prospecting up to the nines.
Mhm.
Like if you're only making 10 contacts, make 100. Just set it one day where you're like, I'm not going to do anything else but make contacts. And if you got an open house scheduled, guess what? Show up a couple hours early and see how many doors you can knock.
Mhm.
See how many doors you can knock. And if you've ever knocked doors, you know that they move pretty quickly until you get one that wants to talk. And that's amazing because you're trying to find the one that wants to talk. But get through those quickly. How can you ramp that up? That's number one. And then number two is, am I meeting with people? So if you're not meeting with people, you should be spending almost all of your time reaching out one-to-one prospecting. Okay. Buyer presentations, the same thing. It's just on the buy side. What else should you be spending your time on? When you hit a goal, if you set yourself, I'm going to make 100 contacts a day, and you have to push hard to get it, make sure you got a celebration on the other side of that. That's time, that's appropriate for the goal, right? You get that first listing. What's the celebration? You get the first offer under contract, maybe hang back a little bit until it's past the inspection, and then start to think about what you're going to do and plan out what the celebration is going to be when you get the closing. And make sure that and then make sure you do it. It's really funny. I talk to people about discipline and celebration, and they're just like, "What?
Mhm.
Discipline? I need to be disciplined with my celebrations?" Yes, you need to be disciplined with your celebrations. You're going to get so busy that if you're not focused on it, then you're training your brain, hey, work really hard, and you get what? Nothing.
Mhm.
Okay. Why are we doing this? You're gonna
Mhm.
wake up. I've woke up a number of different times with that same feeling because I wasn't celebrating.
Mhm.
Now, Jessica, is there a reason why her business has grown so fast? Because she ties these rewards and celebrations to every
Mhm.
little thing. And I will be straight. I haven't told you this, honey, but I will be straight. The first time she set a quarterly goal and they hit it, and they're like, "We're gonna go to dinner." I was like, Good for you, honey. Good for you. That's great. And then she did it again the next quarter. And then she did it in the next quarter. And it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And now all of a sudden, I don't have to pay for a trip to Sedona. And I'm celebrating with her. And it was fantastic.
It
So
was.
high five, babe. High five.
Celebrate your win.
Discipline in celebration. Very important. Okay, we talked about the rest of these. Get your, spending your time in your CRM, spending your time with your people networking, one-to-many conversations through marketing, and then skill building. This is where you be. If you guys don't have it, take a picture of this slide. This is where all of your time should be spent. All of your time. And if you're on our team, I've got my little wheel. This is just a list instead of a wheel. Yeah. And there we go. Oh, yes, just a final word. If it makes you more effective in these 8 roles, it's worth it. You should 100% be doing it. If it distracts you, get it out.
Yeah.
This is how you make it. The discipline to add an extra 100K to your business is just simply that. Make sure you're focused on the activities and tracking the numbers that you need to be tracking. So anyway, thank you guys so much for being around. If you aren't following us on social media, she's Cactus Blossom Financial. And I've got Enchant Real Estate Group, but I also have my own personal. And if Jessica likes you, she might let you be her friend on Facebook. Maybe, just maybe.
Yes.
Might
Yes.
let you follow her, but if you came here, just like send her a little message. Say, I saw you on the webinar. Can I be your friend?
And I will be sending out a special offer for the attendees.
Yes.
So you will be getting that in your email. So look for that. I know end of year is coming. So
Yes.
so special offers for cleanups and ongoing bookkeeping. So yes.
Yes.
Look for your email.
Yes. If you want to be ready, you want to get that tax
Yes.
return even quicker, you got to be tracking your books. And so
Yes.
that's definitely a thing. So and frankly, that maybe that'd be a good place to stand. If this was valuable to you, if you're like, man, I've got some real things that I'm going to take. I'm not going to say what you think I'm going to say. Then I'm going to say implement it. Implement it. Put it to work. Put it to work and then tell me about it. Okay. I'd love to hear that you are tracking your numbers. I'd love to hear how some of these things is going to explode your business.
Mhm.
Jessica and I, our goal is we just want to add value
Mhm.
and add so much value that people have the success that we're having.
Mhm.
And if they need some help along the way, like reach out, call
Yeah.
us. Maybe
Yeah.
a partnership is in order. Or maybe it's just a quick conversation and we can serve each other and be friends.
I will point you in the right direction if I don't have the answer for sure.
Yeah. So we're so grateful for everybody who joined us live, and we're going to put this recording up. And so if you think this would be helpful for any other real estate agents, whether they're here in Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, or even the surrounding valley, or even the surrounding country, please share it with them. We are going to make this free. We'll answer any questions that you guys have. I think for the sake of time, we'll just keep that on social media. So we'll post this webinar. If you got questions, post them in the chat or post them in the comments there.
So much to learn.
Anyway.
So powerful. Oh, thank
you guys are awesome. Thanks for joining us. One down, many to come.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. This
Yes.
is not the last one. So yeah.
Yes.
Thank
All
you
right,
guys.
Cool. Well, have a powerful week and have a very nice holiday season. Hopefully, this gave you some things to go into the beginning of the year so you have a brand new trajectory and your income will and your
That's
finances
right.
will, everything. So,
That's right.
Anyway, I'm going to do like a little quick photo here. Awesome. You guys rock. Thank you so much.